Most people think wealth is a number in a bank account. They think of a massive pile of cash sitting behind a glass wall. But after a decade in the markets, I've realized wealth isn't what you have. It's what you receive while you sleep. Last year, my portfolio deposited exactly $100,000 into my account. No work required, no boss to answer to, no assets sold. That is roughly $8,333 every single month. In most parts of the world, that's not just extra money. That is complete and total freedom. But to get there, I had to stop thinking like a trader and start thinking like a business owner. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This is the story of the Dividend Engine, the most reliable wealth-building system ever created. Today, I'm giving you the exact blueprint I use to reach 6 figures in annual passive income. Let's be cold and professional about the numbers. To earn $100,000 in dividends, you need to solve a simple equation. Your income equals your portfolio size, multiplied by your dividend yield. If you hunt for safe 2% yields from companies like Apple or Microsoft, you need $5 million. If you chase risky 10% yields from crumbling businesses, you only need $1 million, but you'll likely lose your shirt when the company goes bankrupt. The professional sweet spot is a 4% blended yield. To generate $100,000 at 4%, you need $2.5 million in invested capital. Now, before you turn off the video thinking I don't have $2.5 million, listen closely. Most of that money didn't come from my paycheck. It came from dividend growth. Imagine buying a stock like Lowe's or Starbucks. When you buy it today, it might yield 2%. But because they raise their dividend by 10% or 15% every single year, after a decade, your actual yield on the money you originally invested, your yield on cost, could be 8%, 10%, or even 20%. The engine builds itself. You cannot reach $100,000 by just buying one type of stock. You need a balanced machine. I built mine on 3 distinct pillars. Pillar 1, the defensive core, 50% allocation. These are the dividend kings. I'm talking about PepsiCo, Johnson & Johnson, and Abbott Labs. These companies have raised their dividends for over 50 consecutive years. They are the bedrock. They provide the first $40,000 of my income. Even if the world economy stops, people still buy medicine, soda, and snacks. Pillar 2, the growth compounders, 30% allocation. These are the engines of the future. Think of companies like Visa, MasterCard, or S&P Global. Their yields are low, maybe 1% or 2%, but their stock price appreciates rapidly, and their dividends grow by double digits. This pillar ensures my $100,000 doesn't lose its purchasing power to inflation. Pillar 3, the high-yield boosters, 20% allocation. To hit that $100,000 target faster, I use boosters. These are REITs like Realty Income, which pays me every single month, or BDCs like Ares Capital. These pay yields between 6% and 9%. They act as a turbocharger for the portfolio, pulling the average yield up to that critical 4% threshold. Let's look at a real-world example, Warren Buffett and Coca-Cola. In the late 80s, Berkshire Hathaway bought $1.3 billion worth of Coke. At the time, they were getting about $75 million a year in dividends. A great return, right? But Buffett didn't sell. He let the dividend engine run. Today, Coke pays Berkshire over $700 million every year in dividends. That is a 50% annual return on their original investment. Every single year, just in cash. This is what happens when you combine a quality business with a long-time horizon. You aren't just buying a stock, you are buying a permanent claim on a company's future profits. This is where most beginners lose their money. They see a stock yielding 12% and think they've found a shortcut. In the investing world, a yield that high is usually a distress signal. It means the market expects the company to cut the dividend. To protect my $100,000, I use 2 filters. First, the payout ratio. If a company is paying out more than 60% of its earnings as dividends, I get nervous. They have no margin of safety. Second, free cash flow. Dividends are paid from cash, not accounting earnings. If the cash isn't there, the dividend is a lie. I'd rather have a 3% yield that is safe than a 10% yield that disappears tomorrow. Most people ignore taxes until they hit the milestone. That's a mistake. If you earn $100,000 at a job, you might pay 25% or 30% in taxes. But in 2026, qualified dividends are taxed at the long-term capital gains rate. For most, that's just 15%. I also use asset location. I put my high-tax assets, like REITs, into a tax-advantaged account like an IRA. I keep my growth stocks in my taxable brokerage. By being smart about where my stocks live, I save nearly $15,000 a year in taxes. That's $15,000 I can reinvest to make the engine even bigger. The journey to $100,000 in dividends isn't about the money. It's about what the money represents. The ability to say no. No to a job you hate. No to a schedule you didn't choose. It starts with your first $10 investment, then your first $100. It took me years of discipline. But today, the engine runs itself. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. Click the link in the description to see my 2026 watch list. And let's start building your engine. Pinned by your channel name, the $100,000 dividend blueprint. Reaching this milestone changed everything. But it started with one single share. If you're ready to stop trading time for money, I've linked my 2026 dividend growth tracker and my personal watch list below. Question of the day. If you had $100,000 in passive income today, what is the first thing you would do? Let's talk in the comments.